judicial findings. There's no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to be him. I trust the driver. He's an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence. It's like this. I must say, absolutely crazy. I simply typed in all statements made thus far and drawn to the logic. You can't trust the game. Our fares are not is our motto. We haven't raised prices in above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbed a poor man on the floor. The beggars on the floor, you say? Starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Clementers don't seem to have a word for the form arguments, do they? Let's see what we can do. We get these 6 people to change their mind. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, it's not quite how it works. Oh? Thought I was going to have to saw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defendant says. But then, they reach their conclusions by their own reason, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, they can recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may be. So what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear. Just citing what I've read about the British law. Sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work? Well, from what I can understand, the key to point of view is using the jurors' own words to make your argument. What do you mean? Since the jurors are randomly selected members of the public, they may appear to be present in a unified front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves in the courtroom together. That's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. You must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can't, we can contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Okay. Wait a minute. Similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Finding contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright. We might be able to pull this one off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Shall we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. The defense's rebuttal. Like, right away, I know this is wrong. Stabbing that poor man on the floor. Because right off of this picture, we can see he's not on the floor.
Objection!
Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel. Post haste. Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting my jumper for my other half. What is this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the accused movement when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see that I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Want to test me, do you? It was just like this. Stuck the fellow next to him and without even getting up, just like the prim Abanka said. Yes, that's what Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim in the head? Oh, well, here, as far as I understand it. It was just like this. Stabbed a poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Coachman said so. Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. Stuck the fellow next and without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Why, listen, my stitches. What a muddle. What this tells us that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh. But why? Why the dickens would he lie? Would they lie? I don't know that yet. But what I do know, that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Heck yeah. Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide by people telling lies. Yeah, let's go. The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now, here's this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him. His black sword. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. If I can use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What if the 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of the events? They saw the same thing! How is the 2 motions? There's no way he could have been on the floor. He's sitting right there, next to him, in the seat. Let's say, Shylock's sat like this on the omnibus. And his young daddy saw him do it. Now let's say, the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. As a result of a single stab wound, Mr. Juror number 1, I disagree. Leslie saw him. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that? You calling it a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you. Who are you calling on? Why, I should take this needle to you. We're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it? Come out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. Huh? What? With? What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As a foreman of the jury, I have the responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence? That's what we want to see. I say 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. You say that's out of the question. Show me some proof. I will. I'll show you the proof you're looking for. So one way I'm going to convince him is to present him with some evidence he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable, hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. It's proven by the autopsy.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Heck yeah! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. You did it! We can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there's something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike now. They took 2 more jurors against each other. It shows their contradictions in their assertions. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh on the heavy side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. No lovers are rich, but despise liars more innocent is my call, for now at least, sir. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 minutes. Oh, I see it. Okay, so what's the other issue here is he's saying we haven't raised our prices above 4 pence for years. But the thing is, she's saying, I trust the driver, he has excellent merit. It seems 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. That's not possible. If we're saying the fares have not gone above 4 pence every year, so the total should be 16, not 20.
Objection!
Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. They do? Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's name and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus in night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, 20 pence is the fares. 20 pence is the fares. Quite right. I have the precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That is it. A fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should operate. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. So if he did charge if Beppo did charge 4 pence per passenger, and he got 20 pence from his passengers that night, there's a 5th passenger somewhere. Why, Pat? Why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely, 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare? Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, It's distinctly possible. There was another passenger we've heard of nothing about. Good gracious! This can't be right. Coachman and the guild are good, and honest men. One and four trustworthy as our watchword. Figures about your coachman claims will certainly do not add up. Your watchword, sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon? Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he's let a nefarious character ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it this miserable trial so this miserable trial doesn't end? We're basically blackmailing him. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the sitting scale. Now hold your horses, coachman. We're all in agreement. Why do you have to go in? Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. Heck yeah. Ugh, this is very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same. Heck yeah. For the love of Mike, not you as well. Penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. It's like, wait, that means 4 jurors are now leading to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruto. We've won. We haven't won yet. We just won the summation. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, take the razor sharp blade, shave the last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now are two for guilty and 4 for not guilty. According, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to acquit, and the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. Heck yeah. So, Lord Van Zeeks, to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. He looks annoyed. Having savored the rich aroma of the caramel contest's hollow chalice, it may seem cursed, crushed into dust. Pray to forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks? Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your adequate tone no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. No matter. Keep forgetting to add the little tone to his voice. He does sound like a Dracula of some sort. There is nothing too hard to prove than the self-evident truth that you see. No, a Why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses, I trust you heard the submission examination we have just had to endure. Yes, sir. I did, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, the coachman, I believe. It's Beppo. Yes, sir. My lord, sir. If it transpires in your previous testimony that you are attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your own bus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call you to testify before the court again. You will explain the misgivings brought to attention by the defense's summation examination. I had 4 passengers that day, I swear, but, well, I for one was told to pay 5 pence for the bus. It fiddled us on the fare, he did. Then I saw that blood curdle inside as well. It's all too much. I tell you, Mr. McGillen stabbed that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes. Stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. Yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom Fitzpanster conjured into existence by my leaned eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little concierge. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry he killed Rasta. Guilt fares are 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny fare? It's cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonored, Miss Coachman. I'm sorry. You are a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. Your selfish actions have brought dishonor to the entire guild. If I may say, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each? Yes. 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but it just can't make the result come out different. No, that figures. Well, it would seem that the aforementioned misagreements have already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination. I see you intend to continue to the parlor games. Absolutely. Hold it! So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage. You didn't charge in the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? It's possible to make the last run of the day pay. I was so caught. I wish I could stop myself passing out. Getting Philip's just listening. It's terrible. So I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't the dedicated coachman deserve an extra passenger? digging a deeper hole for yourself here. It's only have been a fifth passenger on omnibus. We have had another suspect. Well, technically there is 5 people on it. You got the driver and the 4 passengers. So technically there's 5. My fool was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board it paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. I just told you that. A flat fare of 5 pence across the board. It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my lame friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed is gone, dead and buried. I have been happy if it ever existed in the first place. Fiddled us an affair, he did, and I saw that blood curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Hold it!
The blood curdling sight? You mean the murderer? Yes, sir. Although some no one should have witnessed the horror in the eyes of the man who the life was taken. Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Didn't he say that he did, basically? We have another witness who did, however. The banker already testified to it. I don't trust the banker's statements. Mr. First didn't actually see the point of the first victim was killed. I turned out to be very significant. Heard the banker did next to me take a sharp impact of breath. That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw the horrid blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming when I'm eating. Even when I'm eating it. So yes, I'm just gonna stab that next thing before statements.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGillen, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? It's bothering me before. So it's just a brief moment. He hesitated before answering the question. Anyway. Only 2 men inside the carriage, wasn't there? There had been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as of yet, 0 evidence. Then what are we wasting our time on? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testament just jars with me. Wish I could work out what it was. Yeah, this old man shouldn't have any idea, because the old man doesn't have any view.
Hold it!
The old man doesn't have any view inside the cabin from where it is. It's not alleged stab the victim. Yes, that's right. Said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding a knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose. I might have you. Yes. Put the cart before my horse. Yes. But I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horse when I heard a scream from the seat of the rooftop. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. When I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The knife was sticking out of the bed's bed. So, in short, you didn't see the moment the victim was actually stabbed. Oh. I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of this step.
Bruce! Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? You listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh? Are you asking me or telling me? Like, so, Beppo's seat is right here. If he heard a scream, like, there's no way from sitting right here that he can see through this window. There's absolutely no way. There's literally no way Beppo could see inside the cabin from sitting right here driving the carriage. Absolutely no way. He's flustered. Might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer the Could she have just happened to see the exact moment of crime? No chance. Well, it's a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight at the top of the Peeping? A respectable city banker? I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as the Ballarat day. It was a grim thing. I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting a little hot under the collar. There. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. I can do that, all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. You think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed the man? I'm not even gonna press it.
Objection!
I'm not even gonna press that. That's not even words. It's so obvious. Blood-soaked hands. Well, I admit that soap might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? These are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilden, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. Now, there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain on there, but, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only the right-hand glove. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. But no, this can't be right. So you're the liar here, then. That's right. You're quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, your last statement was a lie. It calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it was both hands. It was only one, but check the remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there is a strong possibility that the witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. I'm a city banker for pity's sake. My words should be the golden standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter upstanding member of society and don't provocate. Claiming to have no reason to lie. Is that really the case? Nah, he has a reason to lie. Mr. Naruhodo, we have some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying. It could turn the tide of this trial completely. Something to show this man has compelling reason to lie. I have evidence, yes. My lord. Yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By sure. Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate my Mr. Fleming had a reason to lie in his testimony. Yeah. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness alleged second quote.
Take that!
This is a list of debtors who owe money to Mr. McGill. Yes, the list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of the debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely worth being called debt. According to the ledger, you owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderable sum of money, would we say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGill were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is to be forgiven in two individual. Forget it between two individual parties. Forged between two. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. Cease to exist. Yes, they would. Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen Is it not the case that you have claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? It's a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant. Order! 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 Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks for you. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, let's not make it a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overestimate the truth in a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on Mr. McGilden's hands.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? Blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What? Okay, but that's still a contradiction. That's still contradicting the evidence. It would appear we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yes. Mr. Naruhodo? This is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly, alas. Yes. What the witnesses really saw. Blood was hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember it. However, I suppose you would say that I didn't see the exact moment the stamping transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing a knife. I remember seeing both Tiger's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, though. Not until I had heard them scream. The fact remains, there cannot have been anyone else in the carriage, or we would have all seen. Well, lo and behold, it's a fact. Not one of you was witness to the crucial moment of the perpetrator. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there's no one else inside the carriage but the man's hands. And the man's hands were covered in blood. What your career is tantamount to saying what we saw the man doing. It's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's account. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of this case. Very well. Cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. The blood of both hands of the assailant sincerely and distinctly remembers it.
Hold it!
The evidence tells us otherwise. The gloves of the defendant were wearing on the night questioned in the court record. I'm aware that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw, and I stand by it. The man had blood on both of his hands. So fine, even in the face of the hard evidence, steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand over two. The salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the green threat, the victim's blood took gently off the accused's fingers. That makes no sense.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. But, crying out loud, we all know no one else could possibly done it. We're just trying to save us all some time. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? How do you hope to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? Well, that's not no, what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong house in the derby. That's all. There's a gambling problem. Got it. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend. That's a sure thing. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. I think you have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for. The witness gloves are not the trial here. Proceed to the next witness. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGill's gloves had any signs of blood. which is really weird. Like the only explanation is that there's another person. Like someone else has to have blood on their hands. Thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down, saw Mr. McGill sitting beside the other fellow. I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves. That's correct, sir. But I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. Through the dark-colored stain on his dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGill's gloved hand. There wasn't blood in his hand. This is puzzling indeed. Must be significant somehow. Sure.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything? Yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir. I'm very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was wrong for me to make up stories. To say I saw a step. What did you agree, sir? I know what you insinuate, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right then either. No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horse. At very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? Real? How's that relevant? Oh, please. You didn't even see that. It was so cold that night. It was all I could do to keep up passing out. But it was a frozen solid, so to say. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus services of London in cold winter nights. Beppo! Huh? If the fact remains, you can't put anyone else inside that we'd have all seen.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the roof of the omnibus? That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, as the glass was possibly open. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter. It rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh? Why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking. No one opened the door. It was locked? That's right. The public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had the exact same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear her off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin. While I can assure you I was just looking down, I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence. The truth, if there was anyone else in the cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocally, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Probably not. Like, if they were sitting on this bench, they would only have a view of this seat. Like, this bench doesn't even have, like you don't have a straightforward view in the window and seeing the seats blow down here. I don't think it's possible. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You're riding in this omnibus and witness the events in the cabin through the skylight of the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin in the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical mandarin, my nimpenous friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You identify the area on the cross-section plan of the omnibus. Looks like an omnibus, are you suggesting the passenger? Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting this potential extra passenger could have been seated?
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face the direction of the traveler, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin for which the passenger on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. Ah! That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite of which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible these witnesses would have completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible that the phantom was sitting there. You nimpuses have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. Cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Oh, in the seat. Okay. So, the person in that seat has to be Mr. McGildy. Because we know Mason was in the seat, and we're saying his attacker was next to him. So the person in the seat across would have to be Mr. McGildy. At least that's what I'm thinking. Honestly, don't know who could have been. Who could have been in the other seat, just out of sight of the witnesses on the deck. I understand, man. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger on the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from the view. Okay. So what my thought is, they're saying the attacker, so victim, attacker were side by side, and then there's someone else across. If we're obviously saying our person is not the attacker, so obviously it has to be the person. The person that has to be across has to be our client because he obviously was there.
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that with his on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Captain? That's the name of the defendant. Exactly.
Objection!
What are you doing? If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do not forget its courtesy. Lord Van Zeeks. People talk about the tiny island nation in the Far East as having land and culture of their own. But I see they use terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwoods such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have asserted to that fact. It's the very premise on which this cabin's case is.
Objection!
Yes, but we don't believe that. But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears gory remains.
Objection!
That point is, even in the face of irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memories of the event is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. With somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary. Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them. Yes, that's right. Both the gentlemen most certainly had it. Hatters do not tend to notice such things. What particular style hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. Forrest? I'm afraid I don't remember. Style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in the cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there were happened, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would have undoubtedly offered this supposed the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Yes, because he fell asleep. He told us that. He's right. There was another person traveling in a closed cabin in the omnibus. It's conceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Unless he was asleep. There is a clear solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. Gilded, to stand. Well, well, what say you, counsel? Prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, you will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no undereducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out that the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it would have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should I ask Mr. Skidlow to testify or not? Not cut. I believe I remember him saying that he was asleep. Like he said he always falls asleep in them. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Ah, yes. I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things in the guild. Hearing what the partner, my favorite little part, has to say. Yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jurors say the man must be heard. Let's do it. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Impressed by Zeeks is not objecting to this. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let the proceedings resume. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now matters on which this court desires to hear from. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defendants. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? Begad, no, 'tis not the nature of mine to hide anything at all. Just answer the question, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGill? The fine fellow represented me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night of myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true. It was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. What? You... What? No, Magnus McGill. The convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry. I so am as though thinks. I'm sure you won't be waiting to know when I was taken by the police. I do have a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. The police had known that we was there. They'd have accused she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into a court review, just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds so easily damaged by it. And who is this young child to whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in a carriage that night. Never saw her.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statement to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. The urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to proceedings. What? What? Careful, Mr. Naruto. Cover your face. Beta, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. Hereby call emergency recess. Beta, ensure the defendant is in custody as we clear the court. What just happened? We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled court by the bailiff. Amid senses of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being at least, the trial was suspended.